celebrating all 32 teams, plus interactive games, player autographs, photos with the Vince Lombardi Trophy, exclusive NFL shop merchandise, and much more. It's the ultimate Super Bowl week event with fun for all ages. Tickets start at just $40, and kids 12 and under attend for free. Visit superbowl.com to buy your tickets today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS for Kids to reach a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call now, 877-CARS4KIDS, or go to cars4kids.com. That's cars with a K.
Refresh your bathroom with big savings at Lowe's. Reimagine your bathroom with up to 40% off select faucets during our Bath Savings event. Need it today? Order by 2 p.m. for same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Shop for your bathroom refresh at Lowe's. We help, you save. While supplies last, selection varies by location. Same-day delivery on eligible in-stock items, subject to availability. Fees vary. Visit Lowes.com/same-day delivery for full terms.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ-FM and HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station and the home of the Golden State Warriors and Valkyries. Always live on the free Odyssey app and now coming to you live from the Laughing Monk Studios.
Yes, it is. Welcome in. It's Warriors Live. Mark Randy with you live from Splash at Thrive City as we get ready for Warriors versus Blazers. The Warriors 21-19. The Blazers just the reverse of that record, 19-21. These teams are back-to-back in the Western Conference standings. The Warriors are 8th. Blazers are 9th. This is an important basketball game for both these teams. Warriors Live is presented by Xfinity, your home court advantage. Brought to you by Xfinity. Watch all your favorite teams all in one place. Xfinity, imagine that. These two teams are very familiar with each other. They've already played 3 times so far this year. This is the 4th and the final meeting between these two teams for the rest of the regular season. I suppose where these teams are sitting at right now, it would mean that a potential play-in matchup could be possible. It's certainly possible. I don't know about likely, but it is definitely possible. But what I can guarantee is this is the last regular season matchup between these two teams here tonight. Kind of strange. That's already the case for a Western Conference foe, and we're only in the middle of January. And Portland has the Warriors' number. The first 3 times they played, October 24th, Portland won by 20. They put up 139 in that game. November 21st, in San Francisco, Portland won that game 127-123, despite 38 from Steph. And then most recently, a month ago on December 14th, Portland won again in Portland. 136-131 was the final. And that was a game where Steph scored 48 points and he made 12 threes. Despite that, the Warriors still lost that basketball game. So they're 0-3 versus the Blazers so far this season. Blazers 3-0 versus the Warriors. That means they're 16-21 against everybody else. The Warriors, meanwhile, 0-3 versus the Blazers, and they're 21-16 against everybody else. So this has been an intriguing matchup so far, and we get edition 4 tonight as the Warriors take on the Blazers live from Chase Center. And you might be wondering, why is Warriors Live starting at 7 when the game normally tips off? Well, this is an 8 o'clock tip here in San Francisco. It is an NBC. It is a Peacock game. You can also, of course, watch on NBC Sports Bay Area. But as always, you can listen to the game in every single moment right here on 95.7 The Game. As I mentioned, Blazers 19-21. Warriors are 21-19. Warriors 8th in the West. Blazers 9th in the West. So these two teams are separated by just 2 games, which makes this one really, really important. And the Blazers, they are playing good basketball. They 7-2 in their last 9 games. It includes a 5-game win streak, which was snapped on Sunday versus the Knicks. The Knicks came into Portland and knocked off the Blazers 123-114. The Blazers had a narrow lead in the fourth quarter, but then the Knicks closed that game on a 20-10 run, and they ultimately won by a final score of 123-114. Prior to that, though, 5 straight wins, including wins over really good teams. They won in San Antonio. They won not a doubleheader, but 2 games in a row versus the same Houston team. So now they're not just beating up on some of the bottom feeders in this league. They are beating some really good teams. Now they did just lose to the Knicks. That's another good team, but this team is no slouch. How about early in the season? They began 5-3. 4 of those 5 wins were against the Warriors. And maybe you don't think the Warriors are a very good basketball team. That's still a quality win. The Lakers, who they've been losing a lot more lately, but early in the season, one of the best teams in the league. Denver, when Denver was at full strength, and OKC. And for the longest time, before OKC's been on a little bit of a slide of late for their standards, the only team that had beaten OKC for the first 2 months of the season was Portland. So this is a Portland team that has beaten a lot of really good teams so far this season. And of course, as we know, they've beaten the Warriors 3 times. Meanwhile, the Warriors, they've been on an up and down, set of streaks basically all season long. They began the year 4-1. They then went 1-4 in their next 5. Then they responded to that with another 4-1 stretch. Then their worst stretch of basketball by far of the entire season. They went 4-9. Now they're 8-4 in their last 12 games. Those last 12 games features wins over Phoenix, over Orlando, over the Milwaukee Bucks. But of course, most recently, they lost to the Atlanta Hawks in a really, really unfortunate performance for the Warriors. They had an opportunity to win 3 in a row. They had an opportunity to move to 9-3 in their last 12 games, but they got run off their own court versus the Hawks on Sunday, 124-111. The Warriors were just 10 of 42 from downtown in that one. The Warriors were within 1 late in the third quarter, but then the Hawks, they closed the third on a 22-7 run. They opened the fourth on a 14-5 run. Add those two together because the only thing splitting them up was the end of the third quarter break. That was a 36-12 run, which made a 1-point game, a 25-point game early in the fourth. And at that point, it was all over. And the Warriors, they lost. They got blown out. They got run off their home floor by a team in Atlanta that just traded Trae Young, has been hovering around 500 for the majority of the season. Not a bad team by any stretch. In fact, I'm relatively high on the future of the Hawks. But as of right now, that was a game that you felt like the Warriors, at the very least, should have put up a lot better effort than they did in that one versus the Hawks. So we'll see if the Warriors can get that taste out of their mouth here versus the Portland Trail Blazers. Again, a Blazers team that has the Warriors' number so far this year, but it is not a full Blazer team. And with that in mind, let's get to our injury report. Brought to you by Boxer & Gerson, Northern California's premier workers' compensation law firm, helping injured workers get their lives back for over 40 years. For more information, visit boxerlaw.com. We will begin with the Warriors. Only one name on the injury report that does not, I'm not including any G League guys that are unavailable tonight. like an LJ Cryer. But in terms of actual injuries, Seth Curry, the only name on the list dealing with left sciatic nerve irritation. The Warriors announced on Sunday that he's making progress. They did not say good progress or, consistent progress, just progress, but that he will also be reevaluated in 2 weeks. That update on Sunday said that most of the work that he's putting in has been in the training room, not on the basketball court. So Seth Curry is still a ways away from returning to basketball court work. He remains out and will remain that way for, again, at least 2 more weeks per the Warriors' latest update. That's the only name for the Warriors. Meanwhile, for the Blazers, it is a long one, and some of these are like season-long injuries or players that haven't played yet, like Scoot Henderson, one of their young guards. He tore his left hamstring just before the season began. He has not yet played so far this season. Of course, Mr. Blazer himself, Dame Lillard, is out for the season after he tore his Achilles late last season. Players like Matisse Thybulle have been dealing with a knee tendinopathy for a while. He's out as well. Chris Murray dealing with a strange back injury. They're calling it lumbar strain. He's out and has no timetable for his return. Other than that, though, you got a couple of big names. First of all, Jeremy Grant. He is out with left Achilles tendonitis. And then Deni Avdija, lower back soreness, is out. I would imagine at this point, most Warrior fans are aware of Deni Avdija and just how good he's been so far this season. Because in each of the 3 games the Warriors have played the Blazers and lost, by the way, Deni Avdija has been reason number 1. On the season, he's averaging 26 points per game, over 7 rebounds per game, and just a tick under 7 assists per game. He's might get my vote for most improved player if I had a vote. That's how good he's been, although he was pretty darn good last year as well, but he's turned it up to a different level so far this season. And if the Blazers are able to maybe sneak into a top 6 in the Western Conference, he might get some MVP votes. And I'm not being facetious. That's how good he's been. This dude is a star. And the fact that he's out tonight is a gigantic blessing for the Warriors because they do not have to deal with defending Deni Avdija. Again, 26, 7, and 7 are his averages so far this season. And it's not as if he's just putting up those numbers on a bad team and getting all the shots he wants. He's shooting 47% from the field and a little more than 35% from deep. Shooting is not his strength, but in terms of getting into the paint and scoring in the paint and around the rim and also passing to cutters, there are few better so far this season than Deni Avdija. So he's out tonight, and that is a big boost for the Warriors because, again, he has really, really hurt the Warriors in the first 3 games these teams have played so far. Versus the Warriors, he's averaging 26 points per game this season, which is right on his season average, but 9 assists per game, 2 more than his season average. And his shooting numbers are absolutely absurd. 48% from the field, that's close to where he's been on the year, but 47% from deep. Versus the Warriors, the Warriors are very happy that Deni Avdija is not playing today. So that is our injury report. Again, for the Warriors, no Seth Curry. Steph is good, but no Seth Curry. And then for the Blazers, no Deni Avdija, no Jeremy Grant, and no Chris Murray and a couple of others who have been out for quite a while. Warriors Live is presented by Xfinity, your home court advantage brought to you by Xfinity. Watch all your favorite teams all in one place. Xfinity, imagine that. We've talked a lot over the last couple of weeks about this stretch of play for the Warriors. After that New Year's Eve win in Charlotte, the Warriors flew home on New Year's Eve, and they knew that at that moment they were not going to leave the state of California for nearly 3 full weeks. Oklahoma City at home, that was a week and a half ago on January 2nd. Then Utah at home the next day. In LA versus the Clippers the following Monday. A week ago, a little more than a week ago now, and then 8 consecutive games at home, of which the Warriors have played 3. But if we take a look at this 11-game stretch in total, this 8-game homestand, the game in LA before the homestand began, and then those other 2 games at home versus OKC and Utah, I circled 8 and 3 as the Warriors' goal in this 11-game stretch. Well, a loss in OKC versus OKC here in San Francisco, a loss in LA versus the Clippers, and now a loss to the Hawks. That's already 3 losses that I kind of had written down as the Warriors' goal for this stretch, which means for them to successfully reach the goal that I set for them, they have to win the final 5 games of this homestand. Portland tonight, coming up here in about 45 minutes at 8 o'clock. You can hear it right here on 95.7 The Game. The Knicks on Thursday at 7. The Charlotte Hornets are in town on Saturday. Miami on Monday, and then the Toronto Raptors on Tuesday. That is the back-to-back, Miami and Toronto, to close out this 8-game homestand. The Warriors, they absolutely can win all 5 of these games, but considering that they have not even won 4 games in a row yet this season, that feels like a tall task, which is what makes that Atlanta loss so difficult to swallow, because it was a game where you felt like the Warriors have more talent than Atlanta. Maybe it's not the best matchup with all of Atlanta's athleticism and length, and that's certainly true. Again, Jalen Johnson on Atlanta, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, some of their others, Conwood, the big out of USC, he's a hell of a player as well. This not an easy matchup against Atlanta, but it's one that if the Warriors were serious about maybe putting together an 8-3 stretch, that Atlanta one probably you felt like had to be one of those wins. So we'll see where the Warriors go from here. It's not as if 7-4 in this 11 games would be a nightmare either. Like, let's say they go 7-4, which means 4-1 in these next 5. That would get them to 25-20, and that is absolutely all right. It's just it feels like the Warriors haven't quite been able to carry that momentum from game to game just yet. We'll see what tonight holds. We'll put it this way: if they lose tonight, they are in danger in terms of being able to really capitalize on this 8-game homestand, because after this 8-game homestand, they then go to Dallas. You know, Dallas is not one of the better teams in the league, although they are playing a whole lot better now, and Cooper Flagg looks like a really, really good player in this league already. Then you have consecutive games in Minnesota versus Ant and Julius Randle. Minnesota, not an easy matchup by any means. So you do have some tougher games that are on the horizon. It just means you have to take advantage while you are at home, and specifically while you are at home versus teams that aren't at full strength. And that's what tonight is for the Warriors. Again, no Deni Avdija. And you look through some of the Warriors' losses so far this season, and there is a trend that does stand out. The Warriors have lost a handful of games to teams not playing their best player, and tonight qualifies as that without Deni Avdija. No Deni Avdija for the Blazers tonight, and if you're the Warriors, you might be thinking, all right, well, this is a game that we should win. I would warn the Warriors against thinking that way, because maybe that's gotten them in some trouble in the past. And I know Steve Kerr has said over and over and over again he does not like it when opposing stars sit versus them, because I think it's kind of, human nature to take your foot off the gas and say, all right, maybe we don't need to be at our best in order to win this basketball game. I point you towards Milwaukee. In Milwaukee, the day before Halloween, October 30th, Giannis was a late scratch, and Ryan Rollins dominated that game, won the matchup versus Steph Curry, and Milwaukee won by 10 points. The next game, 2 days later, in Indiana. This one maybe doesn't qualify because Tyrese Halliburton is out for the year, and that was on a surprising absence. There were other injuries for Indiana that day, though, that kind of gave the Warriors maybe the thought, like, hey, we can win this game without our A game. They lost that game as well, 114-109. They went to Orlando. Orlando was without Paolo Banchero. Maybe you think Franz Wagner is their best player. Like, I'll hear an argument there. But one of Orlando's best players, Paolo Banchero, did not play in that game, and the Warriors lost that game 121-113. A week after that, that game was in middle of November, just before Thanksgiving. Houston in town. No Kevin Durant, out for personal reasons in that game. What happened? Houston won that game 104-100. So this trend has continued at times against the Warriors. And I can even say the same thing for the Clipper loss 8 days ago in LA. Kawhi played, but no James Harden in that game. So there's been a number of instances when opposing teams are down their best player, their superstar, or maybe at least, like in the case of the Clippers, one of their 2 best players. You might say Kawhi better overall than James. He's certainly been playing that way of late. And the Warriors have still lost those games. So just going to bring that up to let everybody know that just because Deni Avdija is out for Portland, it does not mean that this is an automatic win for the Warriors. We've been down that road too many times, and they haven't taken advantage. And as you look at the Western Conference standings, as you look at how this all plays out, the Warriors right now, they've been on a pretty good stretch, right? They could have beaten Atlanta and improved to 9-3 in their last 12. Instead, they're 8-4. 8-4, though, nothing to scoff at. If you just go 8-4 in every 12-game stretch the rest of the way, you will be a playoff team. But this is a team that, despite that good stretch of play of late, they have not moved in the standings. And they really haven't gained much ground in terms of the 7th spot. Now, Phoenix has jumped Houston, crazily enough. Houston is down to the 7th seed in the West at 22-14. They've lost 3 games in a row. They're 5-5 in their last 10. But you look at Phoenix, who the Warriors have been chasing. Phoenix is 8-2 in their last 10 and won 3 in a row. You've made up no ground on Phoenix. In fact, they have gained on you during this stretch. You have gained on Houston, but you're not any closer to jumping out of the 8 and into the 7th spot. You have to play really good basketball over a really long stretch in order to really move up in the Western Conference. So, again, it makes tonight that much more important against a conference foe who is one spot behind you in the standings. And we talk about, a couple of losses that have just slipped away from the Warriors, a couple of wins that have slipped away, and turned into losses. Just think if 2 results went differently, right? Just 2 results. Instead of 21-19, the Warriors were 23-17. They would still be in 8th, but they'd be a game behind Houston. And they would only be a game and a half behind Phoenix. Instead, they're 3 games behind Houston and 3.5 behind Phoenix. And I'm only talking about 2 games. And that's not, hard to actually say could happen. The Warriors have lost 3 games by 1 point. They've lost 4 or 5 games, depending on how you define it, to teams that are down their best players, at games in which they absolutely, had the talent edge on their opponents, and they didn't. And they don't deserve the benefit of the doubt for that, but it's just a game here or there could really make the difference. And if you're a playoff team, a top 6 team, or a play-in team. So we'll just keep that in mind. We'll check back in throughout the season, but certainly this is a game the Warriors absolutely should win. This is Warriors Live, presented by Xfinity, your home court advantage, brought to you by Xfinity. Watch all your favorite teams all in one place. Xfinity, imagine that. Let's get to our Take It to the Bank prediction here on Warriors Live. Our Take It to the Bank prediction, as always, brought to you by Fremont Bank, here for you, here for good. I'm going to go over Draymond Green, 5.5 assists. His last 5 games, 4 assists. That was Sunday. 12 assists, 2 assists, but he was ejected and only played 12 minutes in that game. Then 12 assists, 7 assists, 8 assists. I think Draymond has been a whole lot better taking care of the basketball, and the offense has run through him a whole lot more when he's on the floor. And frankly, the Warriors' offense has been better. It's why they are 8-4 in their last 12. Part of the reason they were missing a lot of open shots on Sunday versus Atlanta, 10 for 42 from downtown. But a lot of those were good looks, and they came off of passes from Draymond Green. So I'm going to go over 5.5 assists from Draymond Green. All right. This has been Warriors Live, presented by Xfinity, your home court advantage, brought to you by Xfinity. Watch all your favorite teams all in one place. Xfinity, imagine that. Tim Roy, Tom Colbert standing by inside the Chase Center. I'm going to head out of Splash at Thrive City, make my way in, and I will talk to you post-game for Warriors wrap-up as we break this one down. Warriors and Blazers will likely be a late night Warriors wrap-up with the 8 o'clock tip. I'll talk to you around 11 o'clock or so here on 95.7 The Game. Until then, Tim Roy coming up next here on 95.7 The Game.
Ready for your next adventure? Welcome to San Francisco International Airport, your getaway to the world. With over 130 nonstop destinations worldwide, SFO offers seamless travel experiences, stunning art installations, and delicious dining